Good morning. My name is Becky Benkert from the College of DuPage, and I would like to welcome everyone to our second day of the 2019 Growing Online Learning Conference, presented by Illinois Community Colleges Online. The theme for the 2019 conference is Accessibility, the Road to Success. We hope to provide strategies and practices colleges and faculty can use to improve accessibility in online instruction. ILCCO would like to thank College of DuPage for providing the web conferencing platform for use in this year's conference. College of DuPage is an ILCCO member. College of DuPage is also providing live captioning, which you'll see at the bottom of the screen if you choose to select it. Our schedule on the screen can also be found at the conference website at ilcco.net under Resources and Events. Links to attend the live sessions are found in your registration confirmation email and on the conference webpage. If you have any questions on registration or accessing the sessions, please contact Jeff Newell at jeff.newell@illinois.gov. Archives of these presentations will be available at the conference site on ilcco.net following the conference. ILCCO is pleased to welcome Lori Wendt and Robin Fisch as they present Simple Solutions Accessibility for Audio and Video Resources. Lori Wendt is the Learning Management Systems Specialist at Parkland College in Champaign, Illinois. She has been in this position for nearly 11 of her 18 years at Parkland. After obtaining an MBA from Eastern Illinois University in 2006, she started teaching business ethics part-time. Lori's primary role is to administer the LMS and all updates and integrations, as well as training. She has developed and teaches online courses for faculty, such as an online faculty certification course and creating accessible course resources. In addition, she has presented on various topics at such conferences as the Instructional Technology Council, ITC eLearning, D2L Fusion, and the Faculty Summer Institute at UIUC. She also serves on the steering committees of the D2L Fusion Conference, as well as the Faculty Summer Institute. She co-chairs the Sharing and Awareness Subcommittee of the Accessibility Task Force for the Instructional Technology Council. Lori has completed the Master Online Teacher Certification from University of Illinois, Illinois Online Network, as well as the Foundations of Accessibility for Educators certificate. She completed the Web Accessibility MOOC for Online Educators by D2L in Portland Community College as well. Robin Fisch is the Instructional Designer at Sauk Valley Community College in Dixon, Illinois. Following an early career as a high school teacher, she completed a Master of Science degree in Instructional Design and Technology at Western Illinois University and has completed the Administrator of Online Learning certificate through Illinois Online Network. Among her other responsibilities at SVCC, Robin works closely with the faculty, administration, and the Disabilities Services Office to continually improve accessibility at the institution. Lori and Robin have allowed time for questions at the end of the session and have asked that you please hold your questions until then, which you can type in the chat window.
Karen.
Welcome, Lori and Robin.
Karen Douglas.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to this session titled Simple Solutions Accessibility for Audio and Video Resources. Lori and I are pleased to be with you today to share our favorite and simplest tips for adapting your audio-visual materials for use in your courses.
Here's what we intend to cover in the next 50 minutes. Starting with the why accessibility, which is the law. IANAL stands for I am not a lawyer. So we're making recommendations based on our interpretations of the law. We'll talk about finding accessible video and how to evaluate it for accessibility. Then we'll get into creating your own video and audio files and how you can ensure their accessibility as well. And lastly, we'll cover some resources for you as well as take any questions that you have. Yes.
Okay, so one reason that we need to make audio and video course materials accessible is to comply with legal requirements, such as Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which requires that individuals with disabilities have the opportunity to participate in electronic communications. In addition, Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 requires that communication with students with disabilities be as effective as communications to those without disabilities. Now, I'd like to emphasize that the legal requirement is not the only reason to make your course materials accessible. Accessible materials are also handy for students without disabilities. For instance, students who are working parents and they're using your materials late at night while their children are sleeping. They don't want to make a lot of noise. Students who are watching videos on their breaks during their part-time job hours, or while using public transportation. All of these groups of people can appreciate closed captions, for instance. And so making materials accessible makes them more useful to more students in more situations. So let's take a look at the standards for accessible audio and video. I think it's probably fairly obvious that audio resources need to be clear and easy to understand for your listeners. So sound quality does still matter. But there, in addition, are some requirements. A transcript or captions should be provided. In most cases, a transcript will be adequate. However, there are some advantages to providing synchronized captions rather than just a transcript. Synchronized captions can also be helpful to some students with processing disabilities, dyslexia, or those who are English language learners because they allow the student to read the content as it is heard. Video accessibility standards. All video resources should include captions. The captions must be accurate, include the exact wording of the audio track. They should be properly punctuated and synchronized to the audio. This is where instructors must take care when selecting video content from YouTube or other publishers, as they will often include auto-generated captions that haven't been proofed and corrected. Sloppy captioning can change the entire meaning of large sections of a video. You might be familiar with the YouTube video One Direction Caption Fail, which is a humorous take on auto captions, where the video creators showcase the captions provided by automated services. They actually took the lyrics of a song and they put the audio track into some applications that provided auto captions to see what they would get, and then they sang those captions as if they were the real words. So as you can see in our image here, the accurate caption of the lyric would be, "Baby, you light up my world like nobody else." But what the auto-captioning returned was, "Baby, you ladder Marlboro, nobody else." So as you can tell from that, it would be very difficult for a student with hearing disability to be able to get equivalent content from a caption that read so poorly as that. So in addition, the captions must always be available to the users. The audio portion of a video needs to be clear and easy to understand as well. And in addition, when you evaluate the audio track of a video, consider whether a student with a visual disability would be able to obtain equivalent information just by listening. Some video resources pack all of the information into the audio track, and the visual content serves really merely as decoration. You can see this with certain lectures. I think of a lot of TED Talks where you just have a person standing in front of the group and they don't necessarily have any visual aids. Sometimes our classroom lectures are done in a similar fashion. For that, the audio track might be sufficient and no audio description would be necessary. And some promotional materials are often the content is all in the audio track, but the visuals might all be pictures of happy, smiling students. So in those cases, if you can get all of the benefit of the content from the audio track, then you should be in pretty good shape to use that as is. Visual content, however, that is critical to the message must be communicated to students with disabilities in order to provide that equivalent experience that's required by the law. Audio description is a way to communicate that content. In audio description, a narrator describes the visual content and it is interspersed with the existing audio track. Then that is available to the student to play so that they can understand the content of the video. Okay, life is always easier when you can find video that's already been created with the accessibility features that you need, but don't assume that all published content is accessible. We suggest checking with your college librarian, checking with the representatives of your textbook publisher during the textbook adoption phase, and asking and checking for captioned and audio described resources to accompany the text. In addition, we have a few tips on searching YouTube and Google for videos. To find YouTube videos with existing closed captions, add a comma and the letters CC after your search terms. Remember, you'll still need to evaluate the quality of the captions, but this will help you find them more quickly. And in Google, you can use advanced video search and select Find videos with captions as an option in the subtitle field, and you can see where that field is located, indicated by the red arrow on the image. Once you've located a video with the content you want, you'll need to evaluate it for accessibility. So we've broken this into 3 simple and honestly rather obvious steps, but we'll go through them for you. So the first thing that you would want to do is evaluate the audio track by playing the video and listening to it with your eyes closed. Are the key concepts clear just from listening to the audio track? If not, you'll want to consider audio description. Next, play the video with the sound turned off and the captions on. Read the captions as the video plays. Do the captions include punctuation, proper capitalization, and other English grammar conventions? Are you able to follow the meaning of the video throughout, or does the timing seem to be off? Does it just seem not right? And then finally, turn the audio back on, turn on the captions, and watch both the sound, the captions, and the images. Do the words in the captions match what's actually being said? Are they synchronized with the action of the video? If the captions are accurate, you won't need to do anything else to prepare the video. If not, you'll have to consider whether the video is one that you'll want to use, or if you need to get permission to make alterations to it. So publishers and YouTube content creators are adding better captions to more and more videos. However, audio described materials are still a challenge to obtain. A few resources for obtaining audio described video include the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped and the Audio Description Project. Vimeo has a very small selection of available video with audio description, which you can find by entering audio description in the search bar. Another resource might be the Described and Captioned Media Program, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. However, it provides material for pre-K through grade 12. There are companies that will provide both captioning and audio description for a fee, such as 3Play Media. This can be an excellent option in cases where copyright is an issue. Captions can be created as an overlay that appears over the video without altering it or requiring any copying of the video with 3Play. So that is an advantage where copyright's an issue. When they do audio description, you have a choice of how to receive that. It can be received in just an audio track form or a text-based form, etc. If this service is needed, you might want to check with your disabilities service office at your institution to see if they have an account and funding to cover the expense. Okay, Lori, I think.
Yep, thanks, Robin.
There you go.
Sometimes you need to create custom videos for your course, but don't let the idea of creating accessible videos be a deterrent for you. We'll cover these first 5 items in the next few slides in more detail. So for this one, we just want to talk about the software that you can use to create your videos. Some popular free downloads include Jing by TechSmith and Screencastify, which is a Google Chrome add-on. Both of those do have limited time, 5 minutes and 10 minutes respectively, and they have no editing capability, but they do provide you video creation for free. Screencast-O-Matic is another one that's free with some limited services, but for about $18 a year, you can upgrade and get longer recording times and editing capabilities. Camtasia by TechSmith is the big name in screen recording, but it comes with a hefty price tag of about $170. You get a lot of bang for the buck, though. Some might say too many features for what you want for simple video creation. So it's best to start with the low-end free ones and test the waters before spending too much money on software. You might also check with your institution, as some may have licenses for labs that you can use to create the videos on campus without any cost to you. iMovie is the popular video creation software for Apple users and is typically free with most Mac computers. There's a bit of a learning curve with it, but it does offer editing capabilities. If you're creating a video that is describing an on-screen action, like a demo, then a script might not be useful, but that means that the captioning must all be done by auto-captioning, and then manual correction must be done, including the punctuation and embellishment. However, if you are doing a voiceover PowerPoint or a lecture video, then typing out a script, as this example shows, can help with the captioning later. A side note, You can learn to read from the script and make it sound natural. It just takes a few tries. But a side benefit to this is it cuts down on the number of ums and so's that you might otherwise pepper into your speech. Note also on this script that I've included the slide numbers. These are helpful as identifiers for the students as well as for me when syncing my captions to the proper slides. Using a built-in computer mic is not necessarily the best for good audio. The microphone should be near your mouth for picking up the audio and lessening the background noise. Microphones have a wide range of pricing, such as the ones shown here. Starting at the middle top, Radio Shack's desktop microphone is $35. The Logitech desktop microphone is $130. The Plantronics wireless headset is $240. And the VTN USB headset is $24. You don't need the most expensive one, so choose the one that is comfortable for you. If you won't like wearing a headset, then get a freestanding microphone instead. Also, you don't need to buy one. Check your local library and find out if they have headsets that you can borrow to use for your video creation. Again, you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money on equipment and software to get started with video creation. It's very likely that your college or institution has these resources available for you to get started. A room with high ceilings and wood flooring will tend to be echoey, even with a good microphone. My home office has wood floors, and I had to pause video recording frequently when our dog came into the room because you could hear her nails clicking on the floor in the video. Having a small area with carpeting and noise dampening furnishings will help to keep the background noise to a minimum. Having natural lighting is best, like from a window if you're using a webcam, but using soft lights and lamps will do. If the weather's nice, you might be tempted to have the windows open. However, if there is traffic or dogs barking or your neighbors are mowing, it cannot be heard in your video. If you are using a webcam, you need a clean, clear background with no distractions. Again, think of the windows. Having them open for lighting may be nice, but if they're behind you, then anything outside the window may distract the viewer from the context of the video. Make sure you don't blend in with the background color either. And ideally, your webcam will be face on with you instead of you looking up or down at the camera. If you're doing a PowerPoint narration, then make sure your PowerPoint file is accessible before recording, including ensuring color contrast compliance. Using WebAIM's color contrast checker will ensure that your presentation meets WCAG guidelines. And if you do use images, then consider describing them if they are pertinent to the message, so that blind users know that the image is significant to the lesson. Once you've recorded your video and edited it, it's now time to finish it. Uploading it to a storage site that also auto-captions is a good idea, such as YouTube, Microsoft Video, formerly Stream, or TechSmith Relay. YouTube can be unlisted so that not just anyone can access your video, but it will give recommended videos at the end. Microsoft is nice in that the videos are not public, nor do you get the list of recommended videos at the end. However, the users must be logged into an institutional Office 365 account in order to view the video. So you need to ensure that the method in which you provide the video is adequate for your use. You also need to ensure that you have a transcript of the video to provide, along with the audio descriptions where necessary. Once you upload a video to a service like YouTube, it will auto-caption with about a 90% accuracy if you have recorded it with really good audio. It may take a few times to reach that level of accuracy, but it can get to in the 90% of good captioning. Then you need to edit it to correct the punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. This is where you will also set the timings to ensure that the captions correspond with the audio. Once you're done with the captions, you have the ability to download them and create a printable transcript to include in your course with the video. An option that YouTube has, though, is to transcribe the video. This is where I take my typed script, copy it, and then I paste it in and allow YouTube to auto-sync it to the video. My typed script has all of the correct punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. So all I have to do is go through and ensure that the timings are correct. It makes it much easier to caption my videos. Also, having this typed script can serve as my print transcript to include with my video. The transcript or script that I showed you previously was used 3 times. Once as my prompt for reading during the recording. Again, when I uploaded it to YouTube to sync the captions. And lastly, to upload the Word document into the LMS to share as the print transcript for the students. So typing a script can truly be a time saver with regard to accessibility. Creating audio descriptions it's not an easy task and can be just as time consuming as creating the original video. But if you don't mind crowdsourcing, then you can upload your video to UDescribe and place it on a wish list and have the audio descriptions put into the video for you. When you're creating audio content, perhaps an MP3 or a podcast lecture, consider the same things as you do for video. Use a script, a good microphone, and make sure your environment is good for audio recording. Popular software for creating audio recordings include Audacity, Adobe Audition, and Recorder Plus, which is what I use on iOS. However, you can use any software that's compatible with your device and with which you are familiar and comfortable. The key is to create a file, like an MP3, that is portable across all platforms and does not require special software for the listener. Once you have completed your recording, you'll need to create a transcription of the file. If you typed up a script, then your work here is done. You simply upload the text file with the audio clip or link, and your students have access to the audio file content. If you spoke off the cuff, you'll need to either import the audio file into Camtasia or another editing tool, and use voice recognition to partially auto-caption the file. Camtasia only captions at about 60% accuracy though, so you'll need to do a lot of editing with it. Or you can use a software like ExpressScribe to manually transcribe or type the audio using keyboard shortcuts to make it easier. A lot of people ask about YouTube captioning of audio files, and it can be done But the basis for YouTube is video. So you'll need to create a video type file, like an MOV file or an MP4 out of the audio, which means an image file needs to be included. But if you do that, then you can upload and let YouTube caption the audio.
So that completes the main part of the presentation. We do have a few resources listed here if you'd like to extend the learning from today's session further in your own time. So we'll leave that up for a moment. But at this time, we would be happy to take any questions that you might have.
We did have one question early on that I think was answered in the chat, but the person asked, how do you get to Google's advanced search?
Yeah, I see that that was answered.
But feel free to type additional questions in the chat if you wanted to ask anything else.
I'm curious, how many of your institutions are providing audio description and captions on a very regular basis for your video and audio? Yes, the slides will be available, posted at the ILCCO site. Maybe Becky can give more information about where they're posted.
I believe they'll be available on ILCCO.net at the, where is it here? At the conferences and events portion of the page.
Mm-hmm.
Likely after the conference.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa had a question. Are most colleges leaving this to the instructor, or is there support personnel to assist them? I can't speak for every institution. Here at Sauk, we have sort of a combination approach. When an instructor creates their own video and would like assistance with captioning or audio description, they can call my office. We have a process that uses at times student workers to do transcription, and then there are a few of us who have the capability of putting the captions into the video for them, or sometimes if they use YouTube and they're using their own instructor account, then we just provide them the transcript and then they can do it. So as opposed to a resource that's loaded on the college's account where we have easier access, there is a process that they can check a box and allow for contributed captions as an option too if they're using their own account. So, but as far as here, you know, I do a lot of assistance with captions, and most of the audio description, we handle that in-house. On occasion, we have used 3Play Media when there's a copyright issue that we can't get around otherwise. But usually we're able to provide that in-house. So Lori, you do want to talk about what your institution does?
Yeah, typically at Parkland, excuse me, if the videos are, you know, 2 to 5 minutes or less, the faculty are creating videos that are less than 5 minutes. Usually we tell them that it's easier for them to do the captions, because if they submit the video for us to do it, it might take a little bit longer. We might not be able to get it done. So we do offer support for the captioning. We've got some resources on how to do that. And then any videos that are created by the college, we have a television studio, and any videos that are created by the college, then those captions are done. Usually what happens is they're uploaded to YouTube, and then we've had in the past a student worker that's their responsibility, is to go in and correct the captions and to get it done. So anything that's produced by the college, of course, is captioned, by us. Now, if there's a longer video that needs to be captioned, that needs to be sent out to 3Play, then it is expected that the department, the academic department, will cover that cost, but it's all done through a request and permission process.
We have a question. What do you mean by copyright issue when captioning? And I'll try and answer that since I was the one who brought it up. Many of our instructors use videos that they obtain from the library or that they obtain from YouTube. And we do try and contact the copyright holder for permission to alter their materials if we need to do audio description or captioning. However, on YouTube, sometimes people aren't monitoring resources that they put up, and we're not hearing back from them. So if we aren't comfortable that we have their permission, then we may use the 3Play option with the overlay that basically just puts a link in the course that shows the video with the overlay. Then we've had other times when we have teachers that bring us CDs and they need captions and they didn't come with it. A DVD or something they were given at a conference, and permission was verbally given to them at the conference to use it. And so we may do that, but then we don't load it to YouTube. And so we have a different process that we use to help them with that. We either make them a CD and with the captions and hand it back to them for use in their classroom if it's not an online course, or we might load that file only in their Canvas files and then link to the file from the modules page. So that works. And we don't, here at Sauk, we don't use the crowdsourcing sites for anything because the time is a factor. We may hear that a student needs audio description for a semester-long course with 40 videos in it 6 weeks before that course is due to begin. I can't, really rely. I don't feel like I can rely on crowdsourcing for 40 videos being done on time. So we don't use that at our institution because of the timing issue.
Rob, excuse me. Rob mentioned ScreenFlow as a great recorder for Mac OS, and I've read about it. I haven't downloaded it. I haven't tried it yet, but that is on my list of video editing to play with and possibly look at as a recommendation. And then Rob also asked about if ILCCO has any interest in facilitating some sort of collaborative captioning process, which that's a good question. That's the thing with the crowdsourcing, is you're getting whoever has the time and whoever wants to do that, accessing your video and not through YouTube. You're uploading it or you're giving access through the site. They're not changing it on YouTube. But you're getting people that you don't even know. So if there was some sort of collaborative effort, among community colleges in Illinois, I think that would be something that would be well received. It's just a matter of finding the software and the storage to be able to do it. And then Rob also asked about captioning being part of the budget planning process. I will tell you that several years ago, when Parkland really realized that captioning was a big thing and we needed to make sure all our videos were captioned, our vice president for academic services set aside, I think, like $8,000 out of her budget so that we could do captioning. And so she told the chairs this, and so the chairs told all of their faculty, hey, if you have videos, they need to be captioned, which, with the universal design in mind, yes, all videos need to be captioned, but she got so much response to it that $8,000 was eaten up in 3 months because everybody was bombarding us with their videos, and we were sending them out to 3Play at the time, and so that went really fast. So she pulled back then and said, well, I'm only going to pay for videos to be captioned in classes where the students are enrolled that have registered with the Office of Disability Services or are now accessibility services at our campus. And so that's the thing, is I don't think that a lot of colleges do have that built into their budgets for captioning. I think institutions are relying on instructors to caption them, or to seek out the campus support for assistance with getting them captioned.
Yeah, our process here at Sauk, we try to do everything in-house that we can, so that we don't need a lot of budget money to do it. But you know, and we've worked for about 8 years now to train our faculty to, number one, evaluate every video that they use to make sure there are captions that are decent. But we also work very closely with our DSO office, and they will send us an alert as soon as they know they have a student who needs a specific class captioned or audio described. And then I go in and basically evaluate the materials in the class to see what we need to do. And we make sure we prioritize getting that done before we do anything else. But we have, for years now, really encouraged our instructors that everything needs to be captioned before they put it up in their course. And so, and when there is a need for additional money, our DSO office has a budget that can be used, but it's not a set amount. You know, I mean, it can vary. And so far, we haven't really had to call on them to use that. So it's going to vary quite a bit.
I want to share something that I did for a faculty member once. He had a video that was it was like a play. I can't remember what it was. He used Shakespeare videos a lot, but it was a take on a play, and it was 15 minutes long, and he needed it captioned, and he needed it captioned in a short period of time. He only had like about a week or 10 days. And so we knew that it was gonna, it would create a rush to try to get it out. And so I decided to take it on and do it myself. So I was listening to the video and typing. And of course I enjoyed it because it was just kind of fun to watch the video. But what I found as a shortcut is I found actually the script for the play. It wasn't the exact play, but it was a play that has been done over and over. So I found the script out on the internet, and so I pulled the script down. So what I was able to do to take less time to caption it was to just use that script and copy and paste it in. And so I didn't have to type the whole thing. So there are creative ways in which you can ensure that your videos get captioned. It doesn't mean that you have to send it off, that you have to pay, that you have to sit there and type every word. There are ways that you can do it in a creative way and be able to get the job done. Pam had asked a question about WCAG accessibility and how to confirm for PowerPoints. I've been working a lot with PowerPoints recently. In fact, I just presented at ITC on PowerPoint accessibility. And I do want to say that when Robin and I were working on our PowerPoint, that was one of the things that I kept going in and doing is I kept going in and running an accessibility check and ensuring that our PowerPoint met accessibility standards. But Microsoft I think a lot of people don't realize this. Microsoft has a lot of built-in accessibility features. I mean, Word, you can use Word to create an accessible document because it's all there. They have it all set up, very easy to use. And likewise with PowerPoint. I believe that most all of the themes, the color schemes, the styles that PowerPoint has, that Microsoft has in their PowerPoint program are made to be accessible. It's when people start, if they take a blank PowerPoint that is white and they start adding in their own color scheme, that's where you get into the danger of not meeting WCAG guidelines, is when you start playing with your own color scheme. But if you use the themes and the styles and colors that are already built in to PowerPoint, then that should ensure that you're going to meet WCAG guidelines with your PowerPoint presentations. I hope that answers your question.
Any other questions?
Well, I'd like to thank Lori and Robin for their presentation today. Let's give them a round of applause or provide them some thanks in the message in the chat. You can applaud by clicking on the emoji icon and selecting applause or clapping. Our schedule for the rest of the week is on the screen. And a reminder that our next session is this afternoon at 2 p.m. It's a panel presentation titled Moving Down the Road to Success, How to Approach Accessibility, presented by Scott Ryle, Susan Nugent, and Kona Jones. Links to attend the live sessions can be found in your registration confirmation email. If you have any questions on registration or accessing the sessions, please contact Jeff Newell at jeff.newell@illinois.gov. Archives of these presentations will be available at the conference site on ILCCO.net following the conference. Thank you, and I hope you can join us at 2 this afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.